you have all these things that are in there. These are the things that you constantly carry with you. So if you guys feel comfortable, I would love if you guys would share using this phrase and add in that imperfection, the imperfection or the positive attribute.
Okay, this is mine. I am carrying a constant need for approval. I would say this is mine. I'm carrying like a struggle with self-expression. I don't know, just like with my appearance and then like certain things that I say, like sometimes I don't want to say something that offends people, even though I know it's the truth, so I'm working on that.
I concentrate a lot. Oh, this is mine. I'm carrying concentration. I can't make a decision for nothing. I concentrate about everything from like school to friendships, boys. I just concentrate.
You said you can't make a decision, right?
Well, yeah, most of the time.
How do you
Or I don't, a lot of things, if I can't make a decision or I don't want to make a decision, I just let it like disappear.
When you say disappear, what happens? You just stop thinking about it, stop dealing with it.
Yeah, I try to just move on to the next thing. Well, I have a journal though, a lot of things I write down. If I know that it's something in my mind that I can't make my mind up about.
Where do you find trouble with making decisions? What is it about making decisions that you find issues with?
I don't want to, a lot of times, I don't want to make the wrong decision for myself or anybody that's around me. Like, I'm cautious about the things that I say and the things that I do because I don't want to offend or to hurt anybody else around me. So a lot of things I just don't say at all.
So how often do people get to hear you then? Are you just silent most of the times? Do people get to see you?
No, I'm not silent. I'm not a silent person. But when it comes to like, okay, I'm not silent. Like I have a very broad personality, but it's just certain things I do not even touch or condone. Like I just won't even entertain it.
So you're
Because
scared
I don't feel like the struggle.
the trouble. You said you're scared of making the wrong decision, right?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes, but every time we make a decision, right, say something happens that's positive or not so positive, do we learn things from those decisions that we make? So if we never make decisions about the things that we want to do we lose opportunities to expand, to excel? So you doubt yourself a lot.
No, it's not that I doubt myself. It's just that, okay, I don't know how to say it. It's not about me doubting myself. I know I can do anything I want to do.
So why aren't you doing it?
I just have a concern of like, I don't know, yeah.
Okay, this is my friend, so she wants me to help her out. And she does have a broad personality, but when it comes to certain things, like, you know how some situations make you uncomfortable? When it comes to an uncomfortable situation, she don't like to make a decision about it. She like to push it off till it no longer is important anymore, or she would like somebody else to make the decision for her. That's what she's trying to say.
Okay, so I felt uncomfortable about presenting today, right? I was unsure, I was nervous, I was scared. One of my perfections is perfection. So I want to be great, I never want to make mistakes, I don't want to mess up. And so I thought about it and I was like, well, if I want to give a presentation about imperfections and I want to talk about the things that I struggle with, how can I not do this? How can I not get up here and do the very thing that I'm struggling with. Because then if I don't, then I'll continue to have that struggle. I will continue to be in a position where I'm doubting myself, or I feel uncomfortable. And the more I continue to push myself, the more I align with my purpose, and the more I'm able to achieve the things that I want. So decisions and things that, they don't feel the best, they feel awkward, you feel vulnerable, open. I'm standing in front of y'all, sharing with y'all, and talking to y'all, and I'm like, some people cannot talk back because they stay silent the entire time. But I won't know unless I try. I won't know unless I put myself out there and open myself up to the possibility. Because this is not just about me presenting to y'all. This is about an interaction where I'm learning from you all as well. You guys help to feed into what I want to do. So if you never allow yourself the opportunity to try or expose yourself to new things, you miss an opportunity to interact, to learn, and to grow. From discomfort comes growth, no matter how bad it feels. Sometimes it can be a positive thing. Anybody else want to share?
Sure, I'll go. This is mine. I'm carrying just like that over-analytical, like I over-analyze everything because I'm a perfectionist. So right now, I just graduated from my master's program. I'm the coordinator of diversity at my institution where I'm starting the LGBTQ programming, which I'm at a homophobic campus and I'm an out queer woman, like very out, I don't care. But I struggle with like, my students, I'm really protective over them. And because we're at a homophobic campus, it's like that constant like, oh, it's like, look at the gay group, and I'm like, and look at their GPAs, and look at what they excel in. So it's like I'm very protective of them, and I constantly like, okay, well this week I need y'all to do this, and that week, and like you have a scholarship next week, and I know I need to do this internship, like I'm just very like, I see it as a good thing, but my partner sees it as you're pressuring them. Like you're always like, you can't pressure them, but it's like I just want them to exceed my expectations, So I think it's a catch-22. It's a positive thing, but it's about how I do it. Because for me, it's like I want y'all to excel, but for them, like that load, my expectations are a bit high. So I struggle with that.
I think high expectations are a good thing. If we don't have them or set them for people, I think that sometimes they fall short or below the bar.
But you say that again for my students.
But the other piece is that you can't want it more than they do. You can't. They have to be willing to do the work. So I think it's awesome that you did to support them, and so that they have that.
Yeah.
But I think they gotta want it too. That's awesome.
Carrying that back.
Okay, this is I'm carrying cultural identity. I think that because my parents are older, they grew up during the civil rights movement. So they're always like, you have to work twice as hard just to be just as great. So that puts a lot of pressure on things because, I have an older sister and she's well older than me. She's 32, but she was kind of like the rebellious one. I want to do what I want to do and I'm just going to be great at it. But me, I struggle with wanting to please my parents so much that I can't even, really be happy with what I was doing. Like I was stuck in a nutrition major and was miserable and didn't do well in class, and then it just hit me one day like I have to do this for me. Like I can't, be well off and be miserable. I'd rather be broke, happy as I don't know what, than be rich and miserable all the time. Like it doesn't work for me. But my parents see it as, well, it makes money and you'll be great at it and it'll look good for our community and everything. But I just wanna do something that I wanna do and be happy and be able to say, yes, I'm a black woman who is successful, but I didn't continue on my path of success because I'm black, or I didn't do it because I'm a woman. And yes, I worked just as hard, but it didn't really push me back, or it didn't set me forward or anything. It just,
Added an extreme amount of pressure
Yes.
to do well, and so anytime you fall short or below that bar, what happens?
I have panic attacks. Like it gets so stressful. Like I just want to do everything so well, and I want my parents to be happy about everything that I do. That it makes me crazy.
It sounds exhausting.
Yes, I'm tired right now.
So I'm glad you brought that point up. I think that is something that, not going to say all, but a lot of African American women that I interact with, that they carry that same thing with them often. And that idea that I have to work twice as hard. I'm Black and I'm a woman, so I have to be great. I had that too, and after a while I was like, yeah, I gotta keep doing this, I gotta do what for who and for what? Because I can work twice as hard and I can get this same degree, but when I stand next to them, I'm still Black. I'm still a Black woman standing in front of you. So it's just one of those things that you kind of have to gauge depending on where you are in your life and what suits you. I think it takes time to reach a level of comfort with where you are in your cultural identity and interacting with people that don't look like you. So I'm not gonna sit up here and say like, yep, tomorrow you can go out there and I don't care. I can do whatever I want to do. It's not gonna be that simple. It's a process. And so I applaud you for being able to make that step and to step outside of what your family wanted and align with who you are as a person. It tends to provide you an opportunity to be a lot happier in life. But I think you should just keep going with that. That's awesome. Anybody else want to share this?
This is mine. I'm carrying condemnation.
Say what?
Condemnation?
Say more.
Oh, say more. Well, I grew up in a household, my grandmother and a military dad. So everything was, you get it right the first time or don't get it right at all. And whenever I didn't get things right, you know, I would always be talked down about it or publicly humiliated for it. And even though I left home a long time ago, I still carry that mentality with me whenever I fail at things. And even when the other person is wrong in a situation, I still blame myself. I should have done this better, or I should have done this differently.
So you just should it all over this carpet right here. A lot of times when we talk about what we should have done, I'm supposed to do this, I should have done this better. We put this bar, this weight that I am not enough unless I do this. I'm not enough unless I do that. And it adds more. And it's like a tape recorder playing in your mind over and over again. Like, I have to get this right, I have to do this. And every time you don't and you fall short, I wasn't good enough. And it's difficult to stray away from that. It's difficult to get out of that mindset and mentality. It's a conscious effort every day that you have to take to say, maybe I didn't hit that bar, but I'm enough, to the point where you start to believe it. But it's a part of unpacking your baggage, unpacking it, looking at all the pieces that have added into your life to put you to where you are, and examining what makes you feel good, what's best for you, what makes you happy, and what pushes you on your journey. And knowing that being enough and worth is inherent. You're not enough because I did this and I did that. You're enough just because you are. You're a human being, you're a person. And so that is something I still combat every day too. So what I do and how I do it, it's not if or when or how, it's just because I am. And oh man, I'm not getting teary-eyed. But that, I hope that you continue to explore that aspect of yourself and to look at you being enough as just for who you are, regardless of if or when you do something. I hope that happens. Anybody else have one? Okay, I'm gonna do one more and then we're gonna move on. Yeah.
It's okay, it's fine.
Oh, no.
No, it's fine.
Can you speak a little louder? No, you can speak up.
This is mine. I'm carrying, not speaking my mind with me.
Why don't you speak your mind?
I guess maybe because I'm afraid of the repercussions of speaking my mind, because I've had occasions where I spoke my mind to people and it didn't stand well. Like I've lost friendships because I spoke my mind. But then I eventually sat down and thought about it and was like, you know what, those people weren't my friends to begin with. And if speaking my mind made them drift for me, then yeah, I don't need them in my life.
You said a very important piece. I struggle with speaking my mind, because then my question for you is gonna be, well, if you remain silent, then what?
Then I'd be miserable as hell.
Yeah. You'll never be heard. your voice will be stifled. And so, that other piece, the latter of what you said, maybe they were my friends. Maybe if I can't feel comfortable enough to be who I am, say how I feel, then maybe that's not an interaction I should be having. Okay, so the last piece, how much does it weigh? So think about when you're going to the airport, you're checking your bags, and you get up there, and you're checking in, they weigh your items, all these different things. So all of our imperfections, or even the positive attributes, they all hold a weight in our lives. So some days, one burden weighs more than the other. Some days, you're kind of dragging along that bag and pulling it with you just to make it to the next stop. And other days, you're just like, I'm free, I'm floating, I'm good. But that part is about being conscious, being aware of what your stuff is, all of the things that are in your bag, your bags or your luggage. And that's why I had you guys write those down and think about all those aspects that you carry. See, there we go right there. Let me slow down. All of the aspects that you carry with you. So this next piece, carry-on items. So you check your bags, you go through that, and then you have all these carry-on items, which is all these different things that you're talking about that fall into these different categories: fear, vulnerability, guilt, shame. These are often the things that stop us from boarding our flight. So we get to a point where we're like, you know, you get excited, you're ready to do something, and all of a sudden fear sets in. You get scared. Like when I was talking about earlier, I almost was like, I might not need to do this presentation. I was fearful. I was like, maybe I'm gonna sound real crazy, but I'm human. I make mistakes and I mess up. Got lipstick on my pants this morning. I was like, all right, these white pants, but I'm human. It happens. But is this gonna stop me from boarding on my flight and getting to my destination? If I let it, then I won't have this experience. I wouldn't get to meet you guys, interact with you, see your faces, and get an opportunity to learn with you. I'm not just talking, I'm learning while I'm talking to you. So, our fear, guilt, vulnerability, and shame. What about these things make you stop from boarding your flight?
Sometimes the vulnerability makes you, I can say for me, I don't want to be too vulnerable because I don't want to seem like I'm weak. I don't want people to see me, I guess you could say see me as I am in a sense, because it's like a fear of rejection. I don't want somebody to say, okay, well, you presented your whole self, but now I don't want to continue this friendship or whatever. You know, I think that's the biggest thing for me, trying to say, well, okay, well, this is who I am, take it or leave it, and that's that. But I think at the same time that the vulnerability in some ways maybe has opened up a door for me. And in that sense, I think that has made my relationship with my mom so much better. Because when I didn't speak about things, she would just think, oh, Kay's just acting out. Okay, you know, punishment, whatever the case is, when I was younger. Now as I'm at school, she's like, okay, I just gotta pretty much take it or leave it. Like, this is her now. She's finding who she is. But the vulnerability on a day-to-day basis is what stops me from doing things.
I'm so happy you shared that. You said vulnerability makes you weak. I would like to combat that thought that you're having, not you, but your thought. So, how much strength does it take to be vulnerable? A lot, right? But then we say that we're weak. Is that not contradictory? So, to be vulnerable means that there's strength. There's strength in our ability to show ourselves to people and be willing to say, they may not accept me for who I am. They may not like me. They may not love me. But this is me. And if you, and part of that is, are you able to be in a place where somebody's like, you know what, I ain't dealing with you no more. I'm okay with that. Because that means they may not have been meant to be in my life or to walk that path that I'm walking. And it's, like I said, everything is a process. It takes time to get to a place where you feel comfortable. But when you are able to be your most authentic self, you find so many positive things that happen. Great interactions. You said you have a better relationship with your mom when you are able to be vulnerable and say, this is what's happening, this is what's going on. So things happen when we begin to be ourselves. When we begin to be our authentic self, we see change. Go ahead.
I just think it was the fact of kind of like bearing all that kind of, it was like, okay, well now I don't have any of my defense mechanisms to keep me up. Like, this is my shell. And
Are they keeping you up or are they keeping you back?
I think it's a difference.
Okay.
I thought it was keeping me up.
I think it's a false sense of protection. Because for a while they seem to protect us, but all those things about us that are weighing us down that are there, they're gonna seep through at some point, one way or the other. So we keep trying to bury them, keep them hidden, but they're gonna come out. So you're gonna keep fighting it. That resistance is gonna keep coming. But I'm glad that you shared that. I'm gonna take 2 more people for this so we can keep going.
Mine is vulnerability too, and it's just simply because I feel like at one point when I was able to just be vulnerable and just let it all go, people take advantage of that. And when you do, then you start to have a standard for yourself, like, okay, this won't happen again. So I think that's where it comes from, the weak or the strong. But that's my thing.
It is difficult to taking advantage of that. But then the thought is, was this the right person that I should have given myself to not honor me and be honored? So that piece comes in with this vulnerability and discernment. Being able to see and to view that everybody should not receive you. Not everybody is not, because it's not that they're bad people. It's just the fact they may not be in a space where they could honor you and receive you in a way that they can respect you and honor who you are as a person. So that takes time. It's not, it took years. I'm still doing it every day, constantly reevaluating my interactions with people to ensure that I'm doing what's best for me, to make sure that people are honoring me for who I am. Because yes, people may take advantage, and they will, but every time that we use that, we say, okay, I'm not going to be vulnerable anymore, I'm not going to do this, we miss an opportunity to grow, to be who we are. And we struggle and we fight and we beat ourselves up. You said you were miserable when you felt like you couldn't speak your mind. It becomes to be something that it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a weight to hold you down. Vulnerability is hard, it's ugly, it's scary. But when you are able to be your most authentic self, it's the most beautiful thing. And I found that with some of my friends back there, being able to be in that space, constantly learning who you can have in your life to honor you, it creates interactions that are just lifelong. And my other friend right here, all of them. But one more, I said I have one more. Anybody else?
One of the things is like shame. Like if you do something or you said something to somebody and they make you feel so guilty, like it's an embarrassment. Like you can't be who you are. Like if you're a person that's outspoken, you said something that really that person didn't agree with, like they will sit there and make you feel shameful for what you just said because you're being yourself. And the one thing I learned about being undergrad is being surrounded by people who feel like they don't have no shame in their game, like they are just perfect. Like whatever you do, how you carry yourself, it's just like, oh, you just embarrassing yourself when you're doing this, or you can't let me just be me, and let me just be like, let me bask in my embarrassment. You know what I'm saying? Let me have that moment. Let me feel guilty. Let me feel for or vulnerable. But no, you make me feel shameful for being who I am.
So that sounds like people that may be trying to control your emotions or how you feel. But one thing I have learned, all these people that say, oh no, I'm good, I got it all together, they lying. Because I used to say that too. I used to walk around like I'm good, my shit don't stink. But guess what? I was putting a barrier between me and other people. I was stopping myself from growing, stopping myself from learning, meeting barriers at every door because I had on this shield like, I'm good, I don't have any issues, I'm perfect. No one is perfect because it's an unrealistic thing. We all have things. And for someone to make you feel like, oh, I'm embarrassed and that's something wrong with it, they probably got their own issues and they put that on you. So a lot of times it's like one of those things, all right, you probably got your own stuff. Let me let you do you. Let me let you figure out what you got going on. I'm not going to allow that interaction to make me feel a certain way, which is easier said than done. Let me say that. But that's part of it. Okay, so that was the carry-on items, the things that we carry on with us, or the things that are there when we're boarding a plane and getting ready to take flight, all right? So we're almost done, y'all. Hold on. So at this point, we have packed our bags, right? We have all these different pieces that we're carrying with us, the positive, the negative, all of those aspects. Then, you know, we checked it, we weighed it, we looked at all the different pieces, see how much they weigh, see maybe sometimes they might drag a little longer or it takes longer to get places. And then we boarded, right? We got on board and we have all our carry-on items. Now we're getting ready to take flight, right? So now there's this piece of awareness. So now you've packed your bags, you looked at everything that's in there, and now you're getting ready to go somewhere. You're trying to take off. So with these, what comes with that? Now there's this piece of awareness. Owning our story can be hard, but not nearly as difficult as spending our lives running from it. Embracing our vulnerabilities is risky, but not nearly as dangerous as giving up on love and belonging and joy. The experiences that make us the most vulnerable. Yeah, I read that wrong. Only when we are brave enough to explore the darkness will we discover the infinite power of our life. So all of those things that are uncomfortable, cause us discomfort or scary. When we run from it, we run from opportunities. We run from joy. We run from excitement. We run from all of the things in life that could possibly be ahead of us. But when we like, I'm scared, but I'm gonna put this coat, I'm gonna put an umbrella, I'm gonna do what I gotta do, and you walk through it, you end up reaching a place that you never expected. So me now is not me 5 years ago, a year ago. So every time I take a step and walk through these difficult and dark places, I reach a point of